When we imagine the fall of Rome, we usually picture the same scenes: barbarians battering down gates, armies falling apart, or emperors being poisoned in marble palaces. But the reason empires collapse isn't just external attacks. Sometimes the greatest destruction starts from within, and that greatest danger is always money. In other words, Rome didn't fall just because of wars or corruption. It fell because of the collapse of its currency. And this lesson still applies to any modern economy that thinks it can play with money and get away with it. Now, let's set the scene a bit. For centuries, the backbone of Rome's economy was its currency. First minted around 211 BC, it was made of almost pure silver. Roman soldiers were paid with it, merchants demanded it, and ordinary people stored their wealth in it. Silver was not just money, it was trust in metal form. As Rome was strong, so was its money. As long as people believed in Rome, they believed in its currency. But running an empire costs a lot of money. Soldiers needed pay, roads and aqueducts had to be built, wars had to be financed. By the 2nd century BC, Rome was exhausted defending its borders against Germanic tribes, powerful forces in the east, and internal unrest. Taxes could no longer cover soldiers' pay. So, what did Rome do? It resorted to an age-old trick, devaluing the coinage. Instead of imposing higher taxes, they significantly reduced the silver content in the currency. The numbers tell the story. During Augustus's reign, the currency was 95% silver. Under Caracalla, it fell to 50%. During Gallienus's time, it dropped below 5%. What was once solid silver money had become bronze discs coated with silver. The people immediately saw and felt the difference, and then came the inevitable: inflation. Money was no longer tied to real value, and prices skyrocketed. A measure of wheat that once cost 1 denarius could suddenly cost dozens. Soldiers were paid less, merchants refused debased coins, and people started trading directly through barter. As trust eroded, emperors continued minting cheaper coins. It became a vicious cycle. During the 3rd century crisis, things spiraled completely out of control. Between 235 and 284 AD, Rome experienced nearly 50 years of invasions, plagues, civil wars, and economic collapse. Emperors rose and fell rapidly, many reigning only a few months. Taxes were collected in worthless coins. Farmers abandoned their land to avoid paying, and trade networks collapsed. Diocletian tried a solution. In 301 AD, he issued a decree fixing the prices of thousands of goods. But when money was worthless, the law did nothing. The black market exploded and official trade nearly stopped. People quickly learned laws cannot fix broken money. Eventually, the denarius disappeared entirely. Constantine the Great introduced the gold solidus around 312 AD to restore stability. But for Western Rome, it was already too late. Money had lost value, armies could no longer be sustained, trade networks were broken, and trust was gone. The fall of Rome was not a single event. It was a long unraveling, and the collapse of its currency was at the heart of it. So, what does this tell us today? The destruction of money means the destruction of society. Rome thought it could trick its people by altering the appearance of coins while reducing their value. Today, some governments think they can do the same by printing paper, manipulating interest rates, or inflating away debts. But the result is always the same. The people pay, wealth is destroyed, and trust collapses. History continued to teach lessons after Rome. In 1923, Germany experienced hyperinflation, and people carried their wages in wheelbarrows. In 2008, Zimbabwe saw prices double every day, forcing citizens to abandon their currency. Even today, modern countries face risks. In 1971, the US dollar was taken off the gold standard and became a fiat currency backed only by government trust. Debt rose and inflation became a constant threat. Money looks the same, but its value is slowly being hollowed out. History shows us inflation is not an accident. It is policy. Real wealth is not on paper. It lies in land, skills, production, and valuable assets. No stability is permanent. Barbarians at the gates may finish the job, but the real killer is always inside the treasury. History doesn't repeat exactly, but if we don't understand it, it will crush us again.